הורדת
For lowering the flag to half-mast, please rise.
Tift nishku. Tief, shik. Shmari da gelit nishku. Gel, shik. Shmari tift nishku. Tief, shik. Shmari yatzigt nishku. Tief, shik. Shmari avali noach. Mod noach.
אנחנו נמתין
We will now wait for the siren. It'll probably take a couple of minutes. But this place, which is far from Jerusalem, we will feel the siren as we do every year. Its sound is heard between the mountains.
יש עוד כמה קטנות.
Just a bit more.
קצת פחות. כן. נמתין לצפירה.
Shmar dum. Shmari tift nishku. Tief, shik. Shmari da gelit nishku. Gel, shik. Schmarja chtift nicht go. Dei, schick. Schmarja zigt nicht go. Zeh, schick. Schmarja wolle noch. Mod noch.
אנא יישארו לעמוד.
Please remain standing. We have gathered here on this day to keep the commandment, remember what Amalek did unto thee, and preserve the memory of the 6 million victims of the Holocaust. I am honored to invite Mark Emanuel Meidenberg, the son of the rescuers Maurice and Sasha Meidenberg, who have come especially to this ceremony from France to light a torch on behalf of the future generations in memory of the victims of the Holocaust. They will be accompanied by Dr. Hadass Malka Cohen, the representative of Bnei B'rith Israel and the president of the Benjamin de Rothschild Bureau and vice mayor of the city of Rishon LeZion.
Schmarja chtift nicht go. Dei, schick. Schmarja da gelit nicht go. Geil, schick. Schmarja chtift nicht go. Dei, schick. Schmarja zigt nicht go. Zeh, schick.
הקהל מוזמן
Please be seated.
אני מתכבד
I'm honored to welcome all the guests present here and all those watching this special ceremony, one of its kind in the world, which every year commemorates and cherishes the acts of the men and women who saved the lives of Jews during the Holocaust. This ceremony, which is held in collaboration with Bnei B'rith Jerusalem and KKL-JNF, is being held here in this forest of the martyrs of KKL and Bnei B'rith for the past 19 years. We are honored here today with the presence of Mr. Sar Shalom Jerby, Director of KKL-JNF's Education and Community Division, Attorney Alan Schneider, the head of the Bnei B'rith International, Brigadier General Nissim Saar, the Deputy Commander of the Border Police Patrol, Chaim Roth, founder of the Committee for Cherishing the Heroism of Jewish Rescuers in the Holocaust, the Ambassador of the Netherlands to Israel, His Excellency Hans Doctor, the Ambassador of Guatemala to Israel, Her Excellency Olga Huisa Aguilar, the Ambassador of Greece, Mr. Kyriakos Lukakis, Deputy Ambassador of Australia to Israel, Matthew Rees, Deputy Ambassador of Georgia to Israel, Mr. Nicholas Etzelohev, Deputy Ambassador of Slovakia in Israel, Mr. Lubamiel Lutrana, and Ms. Marion Dahan, Political Advisor to the French Embassy in Israel, Mr. Bernard Schulz, Social Attaché in the German Embassy in Israel, and Brigadier General Eli Abutbul from the Police Academy of the Border Police, and the Chief Instructor of this school is also here with him. Mr. Avraham Avraham Duvdevani, chairman of KKL-JNF, who wanted to be here today but couldn't be here because he is attending the March of the Living in Poland right now. We are already very thankful to all those who will tell the stories of the rescuers in the testimony corners. I'm honored to invite Mr. Sal Shalom Jerby, Director of KKL-JNF's Education and Community Division.
ניצולי שואה יקרים,
Dear Holocaust survivors, the representatives of the Jewish rescuers who are here with us, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished audience, only a week ago we were celebrating Pesach, the Passover, the holiday of liberation, and we celebrated how our nation was liberated from slavery to freedom. And there were so many challenges encountered, and with the wiping out of the Kovna ghetto, thousands of Jews were sent to the Nazi camps, including groups of children that survived the Children Act at Ghetto Kovna. Wolf Gelperin, who was 17 years old, organized a group, 131 children from the Kovna ghetto. He led them and he trained them in various disciplinary exercises necessary for their survival in the different camps where they would be sent to. Some of the children in that group survived, much of it thanks to the courage and resourcefulness of Wolf, who was a father for that group of children. 28 young men from that group survived and made Aliyah, came to Israel. They and their family members are filled with gratitude to Wolf every day for his leadership in times of trouble and for implementing the values of mutual responsibility while risking his life. These stories of saving the lives of Jews were like a ray of light in that darkness. The righteous among the nations are non-Jews who have been honored and received this title of righteous among the nations. Over 27,000 such people have been recognized to date. Along these acts, there were daily acts of Jews saving other Jews, Jews that with their courage risked their lives and the lives of their families, and even though they were persecuted by the Nazis, they chose to take action and to rescue. Acts of rescue by Jews happened all over Europe and North Africa, in the countries where Jews had left and the countries where they fled to: Germany, Hungary, Belgium, Slovakia, Holland, Lithuania, France, Greece, Tunisia, Libya, Algeria, and many other countries. These acts of rescue, including taking out Jews from camps, smuggling, helping falsifying documents, hiding Jews, and so much more. This important ceremony, which honors the heroism of the Jewish rescuers, in which we give the citation of the Jewish rescuers to the representatives of the rescuers, is held in collaboration between KKL-JNF and the Bnei B'rith World Center. And this ceremony has been held for 19 years now, and this is a good time to thank you all for all these years of collaboration in commemorating the Holocaust. It is our duty to set this on the agenda, to time and again remind ourselves and remind the whole world, all these Jews who had saved Jews during World War II, with this tremendous devotion that saved so many lives of Jews, because all the Jewish people owe them their gratitude and appreciation for everything they did. In this ceremony, we have students from pre-military academies that during their study time in these academies, they carry the torch of memory, and every day they implement in practice the values of a mutual responsibility, which we learned from these Jewish rescuers, and contribute to society, to community, and to the state of Israel. Distinguished students, throughout this day you will tour this plaza and the different corners in the Martyrs Forest and in the Anne Frank corner. And please remember that inculcating the legacy and the memory of the Holocaust and heroism is not just the duty of those who were rescued and the rescuers and the Holocaust museums, but rather it is our duty, each and every individual of every age and of every ethnic origin, us. With that, thank God, we have this privilege of living in a strong and successful country with a strong military that knows how to respond to security threats on the country and on its citizens. We are required to remember and to remind others as part of our legacy. We wish all of us, the people of Israel and the entire world, we all await the days in which the words of the prophet Isaiah will come true and they shall cut their swords into plows, and Gentile to another Gentile will never fight, and war will cease from the world. Thank you to the director of KKL-JNF's Education and Community Division. I am now asking the honor guard to step down.
צ'ק! שמר יפנה, חוצה, פנה! לפי השמאל, קדימה, צאה! שמאל, ימין, שמאל. שמאל, ימין, שמאל. שמאל, ימין, שמאל, ימין, שמאל, ימין, שמאל. שמאל, ימין, שמאל. שמאל, ימין, שמאל.
I am honored to invite Attorney Alan Snyder, the director of the Bnei Brit World Center. And I must say, Alan, that you're the one responsible for this ceremony for so many years now. Thank you. His Excellency, the Ambassador of the Netherlands in Israel, our guest of honor today. His Excellency, my dear friend, the Ambassador of Greece to Israel. Her Excellency, the Ambassador of Guatemala to Israel. The representatives of the embassies of France, Slovakia, Germany, Australia, and the entire diplomatic corps. To Mr. Sargerbi and all our partners at KKL-JNF, the families of the rescuers, members of Bnei Brit, the heads of Bnei Brit, soldiers from the Border Patrol, the students from the pre-military academies, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished audience, your presence here with us is very meaningful. We are gathering once again with somber seriousness here in this place for the 19th time in order to commemorate the stories of heroism of those Jews who risked their own lives in order to save other Jews during the Holocaust in the countries in which they were persecuted merely for the fact that they were Jews, and in memory of all the Jews who were a target for annihilation in the perspective of the Nazis and their collaborators. We will soon learn about just a few stories, about just a few of these heroes. Each and every person is a world in and of its own. For their families who carry their memory every day and are here with us, and also for those whose lives were saved thanks to them. We all owe them a great debt. We must recognize the fact that the Jewish world is still dealing with the ramifications of the genocide carried out against us by the Germans and the European nations, even 80 years after. And we are suffering from this both collectively and as individuals. We must unite in order to overcome this, both in numbers and also with respect to our spiritual, religious, and material future. Even generations after these atrocities, we continue to climb uphill until we rest our prosperous destiny both here in Israel and in the different Jewish diaspora. And to all the young men and women here, I suggest that you learn about these heroes who saved lives and who fought in the ghettos with the partisans in the Allied armies, hoping that the Jewish people will reach exactly this point in which it can stand on its own legs, in contrast to all those who attack us, and to show everybody our capability to remain the special traits of our nation and to contribute our special contribution to the human mosaic. We will not give in to those who seek to destroy us today, just as hundreds and thousands of Jews did not give in and give up like these rescuers we commemorate here. But today we have a backing, we have a support we didn't have back then. The state of Israel, which is opening its borders for the wave of Olim from the Ukraine and Russia following the Russian invasion. Even if this attack isn't specifically targeting Jews, the views of such destruction in the heart of Europe make us feel terribly sad for the loss of the citizens of an entire nation. And I would like to take this opportunity to ask for an immediate cease of the acts of hostilities in the fields of destruction in Europe and in Ukraine specifically have seen more than enough of their share of blood and suffering. Thank you, Ellen. I am honored to invite the Deputy Commander of the Border Police Training Academy to give his address. His Excellency, Mr. Hans Doctor, Ambassador of the Netherlands, Mr. Sar Shalom Jerby, Director of KKL-JNF's Education and Community Division, Dr. Chaim Katz, Chairman of the Neighborhood World Center and member of KKL-JNF Board of Directors, the senior commanders from the Border Patrol Unit, and distinguished guests. This special occasion is an inseparable part of the Israeli DNA, of the Jewish DNA. We, the commanders and combatants of the Border Patrol Unit, are proud to be here and to hear the stories of the hero Holocaust survivors that are honoring us with their presence here and showing us the special material that makes up this special people of ours. We salute you. We salute your emotional strength, and we educate our children and our combatants based on your moving stories. This date was set between Passover and Independence Day for a reason. This proximity symbolizes the transition from Holocaust to resurrection, our ability to be liberated against all odds every time anew. The people of Israel, the Jewish people, have lived on their sword, and Jewish history is rife with war stories and attempts of annihilation since slavery in Egypt, the destruction of the Second Temple, the pogroms in different areas, and events in the modern era. As we always say, in every generation they seek to annihilate us. And you see us today, despite all that, standing here today, our heads raised high and proud. And we'd like to say to you, distinguished audience, that we are here, commanders, combatants, strong and more determined than ever. We are prepared for any scenario and willing to take on any mission, and even beyond that, as a Jew, as an Israeli citizen, and as a senior ranking officer in the border guard combat, I would like to tell you that we promise to remember and never to forget. In the border guard unit, we have an ethical code that is set to all of the commanders and members of our unit. And for many years, we are involved in various projects in which our combatants adopt many Holocaust survivors, and we have become a home for them, and they have become a family for us. So on behalf of this family, we are here to say, not only shall we not forget, but we have the privilege and the duty and the strength to say clearly, never again. This ceremony which commemorates and honors the heroism of Jewish rescuers in the Holocaust, tells the story of so many Jews who have risked their lives in order to save the lives of other Jews during the Holocaust, while risking their own lives in the different organizations and settings. And one of them, Hannah Senesh, of blessed memory, she said a sentence, and I would like to conclude my remarks here with that sentence. Some stars, their light reaches the earth only once they are gone. There are people that the brightness of their memory lights only when they are no longer with us. These lights, which shine bright in the darkness of the night, show people their way. Ladies and gentlemen, anybody who managed to be saved from this authority and rescued others, and the heroism of those who have saved us, and thanks to them we are here, we must cherish and appreciate every day anew, every day more and more, every day with all of our heart. In a few minutes, when we will all sing the national anthem Hatikva here, I would like to ask you of those souls who are not with us here today, but we are here thanks to them, those that we can see with our very own eyes today and understand through them what it means to set out from slavery to liberation, and what does it feel like as a nation to transfer from Holocaust resurrection. Am Yisrael Chai. Thank you very much.
הולך אני כעת במישור להווה, כילד ההולך לו לאיבוד, כפות ידיים מושטות מבקשות את העזרה,
להמשיך איתך את המסע.
ובצדים הפרחים כאילו איבדו את זהותם, מחפשים עוד קרן אור שתעזור, עוד לגימה קטנה של מים עם עיני החוכמה, תביא להם את התקווה. הרים ראשי, אשא עיניי אל ההרים במרחקים, וקולי יישמע כזעקה, כתפילת האדם, וליבי יקרא, מאין יבוא עזרי. ואני כעת בנופים חדשים, הצעדים הם נעשים כה איטיים, ויש שם שאין פה, שאל אותי עובר, מה בלב אתה שומר? שיש העיר שעל גבו מונח כל עברו, נביט סביב ומחפש את עולמו, כשעובר כל כך קשה לא אומר דבר,
הרים
ראשי אל המחר הרים ראשי אשא עיניי להרים במרחקים וקולי יישמע כזעקה כתפילת האדם וליבי יקרא מאין יבוא עזרי
When the persecution started in the ghetto, I returned to the town and we immediately went to help the refugees. As a town close to the border, we smuggled Jews who were members of the movement to Budapest. They came hidden in beer crates and we took them in the wagons of the factory where my father worked. We hid them for the night in our small town. We gave them papers and the next day they went on the train to Budapest. The organization was in very excellent order until one of the Slovaks was captured and he couldn't handle the interrogations. He exposed the entire network and one after the other we were taken to be imprisoned. The story of Yaakov Aharon from the book Before Forgetfulness Comes. I would like to thank this wonderful ensemble from Gush Etzion. I'm honored to invite the ambassador of Netherlands to Israel, Mr. Hans Doctor, to give his address.
Good morning, everybody. Friends of B'nai Brit and the Jewish National Fund, friends from the Knesset, guests. It is a great honor for me to be here with you today on this special day. And on a morning like this, when the weather is beautiful, nature is beautiful, we're on this beautiful hill, the Holocaust seems far away. And we think it is forgotten, but actually it is not. Survivors are still amongst us, and the ugly head of anti-Semitism is raising its head again. And we have to stand shoulder to shoulder to combat this. And for the future of all the beautiful young people who also gave us beautiful music today, we have to work together, Jews and non-Jews alike, to combat this and ensure a safer future for all. And Mr. Schneider mentioned the atrocities currently being perpetrated by Russia in Ukraine. And of course, they're of an entirely different order. But it is also the kind of atrocities that we have to work together to stop. So I thought it was really appropriate that he mentioned this. And it reminds us today that the human capacity for evil is still great. Yom HaShoah, Holocaust Remembrance Day, began yesterday at sundown. And this was my third Yom HaShoah in Israel. And with every year that passes, I find it more moving. Public life comes to a standstill. The normal busy streets are hit with silence, and Israelis turn their attention to remember the 6 million Jews who were murdered in the Shoah by Nazi Germany and their collaborators. The victims of the Shoah were members of our communities, our families, our friends, and our neighbors, and the absence of each and every person is felt to this day. Here at the Forest of the Martyrs, 6 million trees were planted in memory of the lives that were cut short. It is our responsibility to keep these 6 million memories alive and to say today and every day, never again. In Israel and all around the world, there are fewer and fewer survivors living amongst us. Fewer people who could share personal memories of the Shoah with the generations born after them. It is our responsibility to carry their memories forward and ensure that humanity does not repeat its gravest crimes. The Shoah was an especially dark time in the history of the Netherlands, of Holland. About 75% of the Dutch Jewish population was murdered in the Shoah. the highest percentage in occupied Western Europe. There are a number of factors which explain this unusual high percentage, and there's a lot of questions that we ask ourselves on why this happened and what was the role of Dutch people in this. One reason is that too many Dutch civil servants carried out the orders of the Nazi occupiers and failed to protect their Jewish compatriots. The Dutch civil administration also bears responsibility, since they had detailed records that indicated the numbers of Jews in the Netherlands, together with information where they lived. These are painful facts, but we must face them and acknowledge our responsibility. Acknowledging where we failed also gives us the opportunity to remember and honor those who stood up against the Nazis with greater pride. In 1963, Yad Vashem created a program that honors non-Jews who courageously rescued Jews during the Shoah. The Netherlands has close to 6,000 righteous amongst the nations, the second highest number after Poland. Until 2011, Jewish rescuers were never receiving the recognition like their non-Jewish counterparts. That's why I'm honored to attend today the only annual event dedicated to commemorating the heroism of Jews who rescued fellow Jews during the Shoah. We often overlook the fact that Jews were active in key underground resistance movements. The Jewish underground not only rescued Jews and other persecuted minorities, but also collaborated with Allied forces to fight Nazi Germany. These brave resistance fighters secretly slipped in and out of ghettos, smuggled arms and falsified ID papers, all of which resulted in saving precious lives. Indeed, the full name of today, Yom HaZikaron La Shoah V'la Gvura, includes the word Gvura, heroism. Today, we not only preserve the memory of the victims of the Shoah, but also honor the heroism, the Gvura, of those who risked everything to save just even one life. One of the 2021 recipients of the Jewish Rescuers Citation was Henriette Pimentel from the Netherlands, from Amsterdam. She saved hundreds of Jewish children as the head of a creche, a kindergarten in Amsterdam. On April 19th this year, a bridge was named after her in recognition of her brave actions. The bridge was officially revealed by the mayor of Amsterdam, Femke Halsema. The kindergarten, which was created opposite the Hollandse Schouwburg, which is a theater in Amsterdam, where Jewish families were collected by the Nazis, awaiting transport to concentration camps. Many Jewish parents made their heart-wrenching decision of seeking safety for their children by handing over the children to the kindergarten without knowing if they would ever see them again, and many didn't. But Henriette Pimentel saved some 500 to 800 children by smuggling them out and bringing them to safety in hiding by other people. The next speaker of today's ceremony is Avi Drucker, son of Anna Rosa van Dam. Anna helped tens of Jewish children and adults finding a place to hide. She was arrested in 1943 by the Nazis and was transported to multiple concentration camps. She was a third-year medical student and was placed serving in the camp's medical corps, which helped her surviving the Shoah. The two brave women I've just honored had something in common. They did everything to protect Jewish children by hiding them, knowing that if they would be caught, they would certainly face death. Many underground resistance movements were mixed collaborations of Jews and non-Jews. Let us follow their example and take a firm stance together, Jews and non-Jews alike, against today's anti-Semitism. By joining forces and supporting each other, we can work to fight it. This we owe to the victims and to future generations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for those very warm and deep from the heart, I would say. Vata.
And now, I would like to read a summary of the very moving words we just heard in English, and I would like to state that the ambassador, in his opening comments, also reinforced what Ellen said regarding the terrible things that are now occurring in Europe. This is what the ambassador said in English. This is my third year as an ambassador here in Israel, and every year I understand even better the significance of this special day. Here in the Forest of the Martyrs, 6 million trees were planted. Our responsibility, he placed a responsibility on their responsibility as the Dutch, is to commemorate them and remember them and say every day, never again, so humanity will never repeat the most terrible crimes conducted by them. The period of the Holocaust is a very dark time in Dutch history. About 75% of Dutch Jews were murdered, the highest percentage in Western Europe. Among the circumstances for that was collaboration between government officials that carried out the orders of the Nazi occupiers and failed in protecting their Jewish compatriots. And they also concentrated the Dutch government information about the Jews. These are the painful facts. We must recognize them and assume responsibility. Yet it is important to remember and honor those who objected to the Nazis. In the Netherlands, there are 6,000 righteous amongst the nations, the largest number in the world except Poland. Until the Jewish Rescuers citation, Jews did not receive recognition like the righteous among the nations. Therefore, it is an honor for me to participate in this unique ceremony, unique in the world. We often ignore the important fact that Jews were active in the main undergrounds that not only saved Jews and other minorities, but were also involved in saving the Allied pilots, smuggled weapons and falsified papers in order to save lives, among them heroes, because this is indeed the Shoah and Heroism Day. Henrietta Pimental, who managed a crash in Amsterdam, and Anna Drucker, these two women did everything they could to protect Jewish children, even though they knew that if they would be caught, they would almost certainly be executed. Many of the undergrounds had both Jews and both non-Jews as participants. Let us follow their path today and continue to portray an uncompromising position, Jews and non-Jews alike, against anti-Semitism. By joining forces and supporting each other, we can combat it. We owe that to the victims as well as to future generations. Now, the conferment of the citation of the Jewish rescuers started in 2001 in order to cherish and honor the work of the heroes who dared to help their brothers and rebel against the terrible fate of the Germans and their collaborators. They risked their lives, showing tremendous solidarity in order to guarantee that Jews can continue to live in their countries or help them reach a safe place. Until this day, 377 citations have been awarded to rescuers from Germany, the Netherlands, France, Slovakia, Greece, Russia, Yugoslavia, Ukraine, Austria, Belarus, Italy, Poland, Hungary, Morocco, Algeria, Romania, Latvia, Lithuania, Belgium, Denmark, and the Land of Israel. This day we are going to award the citations to 13 additional rescuers. And this is the wording of this certificate. This is to certify that a Jewish rescuer citation has been conferred in recognition of the devotion, courage, and heroism exhibited by the rescuers in rescuing fellow Jews during the Holocaust. I would like to invite to the stage the son of Anna Van Dan, the rescuer, Avi Drucker. Avi, please. Thank you. Distinguished audience, 83 years have passed since the beginning of World War II. The generation that witnessed the war is almost completely gone today. We, the representatives of the next generations, bring up the activities of those unique individuals who decided to raise against the Nazis and try to save their brothers and sisters. All those present probably heard about those who risked their lives in order to save Jews during the Holocaust and received the title of righteous among the nations. But one of the conditions in order to be recognized as a righteous among the nations is that the rescuer is not a Jew. A decade ago, Bnei B'rith decided to award this honor to Jews who were also involved in the various efforts to rescue Jews in Europe. And for that reason, we have gathered here today for this ceremony. One of those rescuers was Anna Rosa van Dam, who was also called Ans van Dam, or Dr. Hannah Drucker, or in Dutch you pronounce it Drucker, and she was born in 1916 to a Jewish father and a Protestant mother who converted to Judaism in 1926. It was an Orthodox Jewish family, and her mother was an important pillar of the community, the Jewish community in the city of Iverson in the Netherlands. Even before the Netherlands was conquered by the Germans, her father was active to smuggle to the Netherlands Jews fleeing from Germany and Austria. He testified to the Spielberg archives that in the 1930s, every evening Jews would come from Germany to ask her father to help. And once the Netherlands was conquered by the Germans, she was registered as a non-Jew, and the entire extended family joined the effort to save Jews. And her aunt and uncle, who were Protestants, hid in their home Jews, and they were recognized as the righteous among the nations. Hans had joined the students underground, and her roles was to abduct Jewish babies waiting for deportation in the Jewish theater of Amsterdam. She smuggled these children with the help of the underground to southern Netherlands. And the ambassador of the Netherlands just talked about that woman who coordinated the effort. Ans was helped by her fellow members of the underground to find hiding places in the Netherlands to 123 children until she was arrested by the Germans because she was involved in the abduction of a girl that was hidden, which was identified by the Germans as Jewish. She was arrested at the end of 1943 and interrogated by the Germans for 3 weeks, but never broke down during the interrogation. Many of the people and the friends she knew who were hidden panicked because of her arrest. They were afraid that she would break down and tell where they were situated. Ultimately, they decided, the Germans, to send her to a concentration camp. That child, Miriam, her parents and 3 siblings were all saved and made Aliyah. This woman, Miriam, is over 80 years old, and she lives in Israel. When Hans reached Auschwitz, and because she was a student, a medical student, she identified as a doctor, where she met the infamous Dr. Mengele. She was in 7 different concentration camps. Once the war was over, instead of going back to her home, she worked as a doctor for several months in the American hospital, and she treated the prisoners from the Muldorf camp. After the war, she helped find the children which she hid, and regarding those whose parents did not survive, the Dutch authorities fought against their being reinstated to the Jewish community. In 1953, she made Aliyah, and she worked as a doctor initially at the Ber Yaakov tent complex, then at the Catamon in Jerusalem. She had 2 sons. Her youngest son, Micha, who was an officer in the Armored Corps, she lost during the 73 war. Later, when she was asked about her acts of rescuing, she always answered, I did what needed to be done. She passed away in 2010 in Jerusalem, and she was my mom. Thank you. You probably don't see it from here, but on the LED screen we can see your mother's picture, and the story will also be told in the media. I must say, she was a very impressive woman. Thank you. And now to confer the Jewish Rescuers Citation, I would like to ask those who will confer to join us at the stage. Alan, please. Of course, Mr. Sar Shalom Jerbi, the director of the KKL-JNF community, Mr. Chaim Roth, the founder of the Committee for Cherishing the Heroism of Jewish Rescuers, and Dr. Ellen Schneider, the head of the World Center of Bnei B'rith. Now the representatives of the family whose names will be called are invited to come to the stage and are welcome to stay on the stage until we present all the citations. Avi, you are now invited to receive the certificate on behalf of your mother. Hubert Pollack worked with Captain Francis Frank Foley, a British officer, and Wilfred Israel, who was in charge of him in the Jewish Society in Berlin for saving Jews. He fostered ties with Gestapo officers and gave them the names of Jews with the money of bribery Israel gave him, as Captain Colley gave them the exit visas from Germany. His son, Adam Daliot, will receive the citation. Sasha Meidenberg helped save Jews as part of the the secret arm of the Zionist youth movement in France. As of 1942, she helped the first convoy of children who left from France to Switzerland along with her future husband, Maurice Mandelberg. Maurice Meidenberg, he initiated one of the first programs to send convoys of children from France to Switzerland through the French Alps. They returned to France to send other groups of children to Switzerland and falsify documents. Their sons, Mark and Manuel Meidenberg, will receive their certificates. Mark Yarblum operated in various ways to advance the underground movements and to prevent the arrest of Jews. Through his position and influence, he managed to refer the JDC funds to underground activities to save Jews in France. He was one of the members of the Central Command for saving Jews, and he was tracked by the enemy and then smuggled into Switzerland. The certificate will be received by family members Zvi Yarblum, Chaviva Reich, and Refi Rice, along with other paratroopers from pre-mandate Israel. They provided medical assistance and housing to Jews in the liberated territory in Slovakia, and they formed ties with the partisan units. They set a network of transit camps to smuggle the POWs and pilots of the Allied forces. After Chaviva was sentenced, she was executed along with Rafael Reis and another 200 Jews in Kraničke, Slovakia. On behalf of Chaviva Reich, her niece, which is named after her, will receive the certificate. Zelda Tregel Nisanilevich, a member of the United Partisan Organization, saved groups of Jews who had escaped a labor camp in Estonia. One of her additional positions was to transfer medication to the partisans. The certificate will be awarded to her son Gilad and her daughter Dorit. Zvi Hirsch Pososorsky escaped the Stoyevich ghetto in Belarus to the forest and joined the partisan brigade. He participated in the smuggling of about 200 members of the Shvarnadze camp to the Nilibuki in the partisans. His nephew Ofer Israeli will receive the citation. Yaakov Ron Reis helped smuggle Jews from Slovakia to Budapest. One of those smuggled was caught, and following that, Jacob was arrested and sent to prison. He was transferred between the camps until he was sent to Auschwitz. After liberation, he returned to Budapest, made Aliyah, and was one of the founders of Kibbutz Gaton. His son, Yair Oron, will receive the award. Herta Graz was a doctor accompanying the Krinder transport from Prague to England and then returned to Prague to accompany a second group. After the war broke out, she was forced to stay in London and volunteered as a nurse to a women's hospital in London that was hit in the Blitz. She participated in the rescue activities for babies and mothers. The certificate will be awarded to her nephew, Danny. Elchanan Yitzhaki. He led a group of young Jews from Denmark to mandatory Palestine through Turkey, Russia, and Lebanon while risking his life. The certificate will be awarded to his son, Micha Yitzhaki. Edward Simon and Charlotte Simon. They were a couple that got married in Paris. As of 1940, Edward took action to save children by transferring them to the Jewish Skites home in the Vichy regime area. When he heard that the Gestapo was about to arrest the residents of that home, he helped them with his wife Charlotte and Righteous Among the Nations, and Charlotte managed to receive the cooperation of the secretary of the city and the secretary assistant, who were recognized as Righteous Among the Nations. They provided the stamps that enabled to falsify documents for these young men and women. After liberation, she tracked down the hidden children. The certificate will be awarded to their son, Dr. Jean-Claude Simon. Now we will take a group photograph of all of you.
אם החבר'ה שיכולים להוציא, יוציאו אותו. הנה, כבר עוזרים לכם. בואו, תקחו את השולחן. תודה, חברים. הנה, חיילי משמר הגבול עוזרים.
יכול לזכור את הגלים ועל הקצף אין זוכר זולת ההם אשר עברו עם רוח לילה מאחר מזיכרונם ולעולם לא יימחר לא יימחר שוב אל המצולה זולת הקצף הלבן לראות הליד האחור הידידות האהבה הנעורים שבאו פתע אל סופה הנעורים שבאו פתע אל סופה בתוך החור שהירח עובר מאיר פתאום צחוק אני אשחוק הקצף הלבן, נרות הלילה דחו, הידידות האהבה, הנעורים שבאו פתע אל סופם, הנעורים שבאו פתע אל סופם.
יכול לזכור את הגליל, אבל הקצף אין זוכר.
של החיילים.
I approached the commander of the German soldiers guarding the train. We received permission to board the train. Emmanuel and I had falsified documents. Mila couldn't believe it that she was seeing us on the train. We were crying, and Mila smiled and comforted us. I'm going to a great adventure. These were the last words I heard her say. After 10 minutes, the German soldiers told us to step off the train because the Gestapo had arrived. You couldn't imagine the feeling of helplessness knowing that she was leaving for there to her death, and we cannot do a thing. For 2 years she lasted in the camp, so strong and brave. At the end of the war, Emmanuel and I had waited for her at the train station, and whenever trains would come with the detainees from the camps in Germany. But it turned out that Mila was killed in a British shelling at Mauthausen. Her friend, who was saved, gave us her belongings. From a letter written by Sasha Meitenberg to a friend of his sister Mila in July of 1945. We will now read the names of some of the Holocaust victims. The names that we will read this year from this stage belong to Jews who were living during the Holocaust, were citizens or residents of the pre-mandatory Palestine. For some reasons, they left for Europe. They were caught there during the war and were killed. Grisha Herman died in Warsaw. Esther Aronovich in Vienna. Yashka Yaakov Levinsky was killed in Auschwitz. Yosef Roth was killed in Lublin. Lotta Lea Rabinovich killed in Bialystok. Govna Milgram killed in Auschwitz. Menachem Alter Orbach killed in Bergen-Belsen. Edna Fried killed in an unknown location. Pinchas Volman killed in an unknown location. Dan Levinsky killed in Auschwitz. Solomon Gorkin killed in Auschwitz. Yosef Ryder killed in Auschwitz. Gabriela Levy killed in Auschwitz. Carmi Milgrom killed in Auschwitz. Giacomo Chayat killed in Auschwitz. Yehuda Yoeli killed in Auschwitz. Rachel Halva killed in Auschwitz. Allegra Halva killed in Auschwitz. David Avraham Matzliach was killed at the Riga ghetto. Zcharia Zilberman killed at the Riga ghetto. Rosa Zilberman killed at the Riga ghetto. Rachel Zilberman killed at the Riga ghetto. Mina Zilberman killed at the Riga ghetto. Elka Zilberman killed at the Riga ghetto. As the honor guard comes back, please rise.
שמאל, ימין, שמאל. שמאל, ימין, שמאל. שמאל, ימין, שמאל, ימין, שמאל, ימין, שמאל. שמאל, ימין, שמאל. שמאל, ימין, שמאל, ימין, שמאל, ימין, שמאל. שמאל, ימין, שמאל. שמאל, ימין, שמאל, ימין, שמאל, ימין, שמאל. שמאל, ימין, שמאל. שמאל, ימין, שמאל, ימין, שמאל, ימין, שמאל. שמאל, ימין, שמאל. שמאל, ימין, שמאל. משמר, העמוד. משמר יפנה, פנימה, פנה. משמר יציג את נשקו. ציג, שק. משמר יעבור לנוח, מוד נוח.
יזכור מפי הרב שלוש, מנהל מחלקת מורשת
Yizkor by Rav Shlush, the head of the education division of KKL-JNF.
משמר יחטיף את נשקו. ציג, שק.
יזכור אלוהים את כל הנשמות של כל קהילות בישראל, בגולת אירופה, שהועלו על מוקד בשנות השואה תש עד תש"ה. 6 מיליונים אנשים ונשים, ילדים וילדות, בחורים ובתולות, זקן וטף, שנהרגו ושנטבחו באכזריות איומה, ונרצחו ברצח המונים במקומות מגוריהם, בערים, בעיירות ובכפרים, ויתרם הובלו למחנות הריכוז, ונספו במיתות משונות ונוראות, ונשרפו לפר בכבשני האש של מחנות ההשמדה האיומים. בגרמניה ובפולין ובשאר ארצות בידי עם המרצחים הגרמני הנאצי, יחד עם עוזריו הרוצחים משאר העמים, שהיו בעצה אחת להשמיד ולהרוג ולאבד את העם היהודי, ולמחות את זכר היהדות ולכלות כל אשר בשם ישראל יקרא. אל נקמות שופט הארץ, זכור נא את נחלי הדם שנשפך כמים, דמי אבות ובנים, אמהות ועולליהם, רבנן ותלמידיהם, והשב גמול שבעתיים לצוררי עמך. שבת שמע ישראל שזעקו הלקוחים למוות, אל תדום, ואנקת המעונים תעלה לפני כיסא כבודך. לנקום במהרה בימינו לעינינו את נקמת דם בניך ובנותיך הקדושים והטהורים, שלא זכו לקבר ישראל. ככתוב, כי דם עבדיו יקום, ונקם ישיב לצריו, וכיפר אדמתו עמו. תהיינה נפשותיהם צורות בצרור החיים, עם נשמות אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה, ועם שאר צדיקים וצדקניות שבגן עדן, ונאמר אמן.
שמר יציג נשקו, צי, שיק. שמר יבוא לנוח, מוד נוח.
The prayer El Malei Rachamim, God full of mercy, recited by Rav Eliad ben David, the rabbi of the Academy of the Border Guard.
שמר יחטיף נשקו, די, שיק.
אל מלא רחמים, שוכן במרומים, המצא מנוחה נכונה על כנפי השכינה, במעלות קדושים וטורים, כזוהר הרקיע, מאירים ומזהירים. לנשמות 6 המיליונים, אחינו ואחיותינו, רבבות רבבות בני ישראל, אנשים, נשים וטף, שנהרגו, שנשחטו, שנשרפו, שנחנקו, שנטבעו ושנקברו חיים, בידי הנאצים ועוזריהם יימח שמם, ושהלכו לעולמם על קידוש השם. בעבור שאנו מתפללים לעילוי נשמותיהם, לכן בעל הרחמים יסתירם בסתר כנפיו לעולמים, ויצרור בצרור החיים את נשמותיהם. בגן עדן תמנוחתם, אדוני הוא נחלתם, וינוחו בשלום על משכבותם, ונאמר אמן.
שמר יציג נשקו, צי, שיק. שמר יבוא לנוח, מוד נוח.
קדיש, מפי גלעד.
Kaddish, recited by Gilad Nisanilevich.
שמר יבוא לדום, שמר דום. שמר יחטיף נשקו, די, שיק.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעולמה דיברה קירותה וימליך מלכותה ויצמח פורקנה ויקרב משיחה. בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יש מיה רבה מברך לעולם ואלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל על שמה דקושתה של ברית הוא. לעליה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תשבחה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלומה רבה מן שמיה וחיים טובים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
שמר יציג נשקו, צי, שיק. שמר יבוא לנוח, מוד נוח.
התקווה.
דום, שמר דום. שמר יחטיף נשקו, די, שיק. שמר ידגלת נשקו, דגל, שיק.
קדימה, עין
טיפט נשקו. טיפ שיק. שמר יציג את נשקו. טיפ שיק. שמר יעבור לנוח. מוד נוח.
הקהל מתבקש
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing until the honor guard leaves the stage.
שמר טיפט נשקו. טיפ שיק. שמר יפנה. חוצה. פנה. לפי השמאל. קדימה. צעה. שמאל. ימין. שמאל.
תם טקס
The 2022 Holocaust Martyrs and Heroes Remembrance Day ceremony has now come to a close. I would like to thank Mr. Alan Snyder and Ms. Maayan Dahan for working hard on preparing this ceremony. I'd like to thank all those who participated in the ceremony, from the Border Guard commanded by Senior Staff Sergeant Major Bader Haitem and the Volume Ensemble from Gush Etzion, instructed by Uriah Lishtitz, who read and sang for us. I'd like to thank all of you. Of course, I would also like to thank the recipients of the laureates of the National Bible competition. And in a few moments, the testimony corners will open up, and you're welcome to hear the stories of the rescuers. We are glad to tell you that once again we have been joined to this conference by Eliezer Lev Zion. He is 94 years old, ladies and gentlemen, and he still continues to bravely carry his stories from the time he was a member of the Jewish resistance in France and when he saved so many lives. On this screen, we will see a movie about the special forest that was planted in memory of Joop Westerville, a Dutch and righteous among the nations. KKL-JNF instructors will be leading tours in this area. I would like to invite the recipients of the Jewish Rescuers Award, distinguished guests, and of course, those who confer the certificates to come to the stage for a group photo. Ladies and gentlemen, the recipients, Sar Shalom, Nisim, Sar, Elen, your ambassador, dear friends, please come to the stage for a group photo.
שוב מקבלי התעודות, אנא עלו לבמה.
The recipients of the certificates, please come to the stage.
ז'אן קלוד סימון, בוודאי, תזיז.
התיק שלי, משה, לך אליו, הוא פתוח עם העדשות.
בסדר. מה? לא, השתנה. צריך שלום. אנחנו רוצים תמונה.
יאללה.
כן, כן, מעיין.
עוד טיפה אחורה, עוד טיפה אחורה.
של